Good day, Assalamu alaikum. I'm Andri, and today we are starting a new lecture, a kind of a special one about differences and also similarities between Mawlana Jalāl al Dīn Rūmī and great dramatist of Al-Andalus, Federico García Lorca. Both Rumi and Federico García Lorca share a poetic intensity rooted in visionary experience and symbolic imagination, yet they diverge sharply in cultural frame, in spiritual aim, and formal practice. Rumi writes from Sufi mysticism toward union with the divine, with the absolute, while García Lorca writes from modern Spanish avant-garde and surrealist impulses towards social, erotic, homoerotic, and tragic revelations. So, this lecture maps historical contexts, creative methods, shared motives, and decisive differences between these two magnificent personalities, Jalāl al Dīn Rūmī, 13th century Persian Sufi poet, and Federico García Lorca, 20th century Spanish poet and dramatist, showing how each transforms quite personal experience into enduring poetic systems and canons. Rumi emerges, as we all know, from a Sufi tradition that privileges ecstatic knowledge, marifa, and uses poetic metaphors to guide seekers toward union. His Mathnavi functions as both scripture-like teaching and lyrical narrative. Lorca writes amidst Spain's cultural ferment, folk ballady, flamenco, and European avant-gardes, fusing popular forms with surrealist shock and social critique. How they created poetry? Now we shall see their methods and their poetics. Rumi's method, as we all know, is dialogic, is didactic narrative, ghazals that convert mystical states into symbolic scenes like wine, lovers, annihilation, fana. His craft is performative, often tried to be tied to oral recitation and reach Sufi ritual, and aims to transform reader or listener consciousness. But what about Lorca's method? His method is experimental formal play like prose poems, dramatic monologues, monodialogues, and surreal juxtapositions rooted in great, rich, and multi-diverse and multicultural Andalusian imaginary like duende, like gypsy ballads, and modern alienation. His Poeta en Nueva York exemplifies urban surrealism and also a gigantic social outrage. So what these two incredible personalities shared together, shared motives and divergent meanings of their poetical canons. Both poets use love, night, dream, and death as central symbols. For Rumi, love is metaphysical and redemptive. For Lorca, love often appears as erotic, tragic, or socially fraught. Dream and surreal image function in Rumi as metaphors for inner revelation, while in Lorca they destabilize reality to expose modern anxieties and also political violence. But what about philosophical and literary placement, both of these incredibly powerful giants of literacy and philosophy? Rumi sits within a mystical, dialectic, and didactic tradition that blends theology, poetry all together. His authority rests on spiritual transmission and interpretive communities. García Lorca occupies a modernist, avant-garde position, dialoguing with surrealism and folklore to critique social norms and to dramatize the body and the political. So, in these first of our comparative literature and philosophical overviews publication, the conclusion is what we see as convergencing elements and what we have seen as separating elements, as convergence and separations between these two incredibly powerful individualities. They converge both in transforming personal intensity into symbolic universes that demand participatory reading. What separates them? Rumi's teleology is spiritual union and ethical transformation. Garcia Lorca's is aesthetic, is a rupture and social psychic disclosure. So to understand them together, we need to sharpen and to see how poetry can be both a path to transcendence and also a weapon of cultural critique and consciousness.